Hello, Americans. No thanks. Thank you, man. Kind of noisy, man, up here. Every day as I sign up, we're up there at that, getting that one lodgepole that I showed. We're gonna cut it in sections, but it's pretty heavy, so instead of cutting it in a shorter section, we decided to just cut it in 16-inch pieces. That way it's already done. Whew. Start to warm up. It's supposed to be 100 and something. Whoa, dude, that camera's done something weird. It's supposed to be 100 and something today. So we're up here morning time trying to get this done. I think what we're gonna do now, we've got that side of it. Might leave this, I might get it later. I think we're gonna saw from about here on down. And we'll just get this section, but we're going ahead and cutting it into logs right now. Just make it easier to deal with. Smells good out here, man. Relaxing, man. Oh my Lord, we're in the sun, man.
That's terrible.
It's about time to get the heck out of it.
When it's time to load, we can back up a little more.
Yeah, a little more. Well, I have been loading while you're sawing. Oh, here
Somebody
is the
studs on them.
this here. I've talked about it. This is my future truck. I don't know if I ever showed Kevin's truck. Whoop whoop.
Pretty nice old truck.
Yeah, pretty nice. But yep, I'll be buying that. Kevin D will be buying him a new something to pull his dang trailer.
New to me.
New to him. That's it. New to me. And I like white trucks and white cars because you're visible. Yeah. Not only that, they think you're the Forest Service. What you doing?
Well, I'm going to get some seed here and maybe dig up a root or two. Before we get too crazy, some tools if you're going to come out and do this: a little hand trowel and either a dig and stick was used traditionally. We have this little metal detecting shovel that we're using today, and then some kind of container to put some seed in. This one's a Forest Service one.
Yeah,
nice.
nice.
Came from a yard seller in auction. So I don't know if this is Lomation Gray Eye, or I could grab a book and identify it for sure, but it's a desert parsley. It's a type of Lomation. All the Lomations have a lot of similar characteristics. You can see this is one with a little bit larger seeds. Some of the seeds will be much more thin, and if we find an example of that, we'll take a look at that too. But you want to take them, and if the seeds just come off in your hand, they're ripe and viable. The goal is to, get what you're here for. If you're here for some root, great. If you're here for some seed, great. If you're digging root, this is the best time of the year to dig root. The reason that is well, you can take the seed and you help it propagate so that there's more for the future. And then 2, plant biology. The flavor and nutrients go wherever the plant is putting its nutrients and energy. So it's already seeded out, it's already flowered, it's dying back, the leaves are dying back, it's sucking all that energy back down into the root. So if you're looking to get nutrition and energy out of something and you're going for the root, that's going to be the time to do it. Some of the desert parsleys and Lomations, there's wild celery, and there's one that's medicine root that's not right here, but it's...
So this is all edible different. If it's before the seeds?
Yeah, do your own research, of course, but typically with these plants, pretty much everything's edible. It might not all be palatable, but it's not going to hurt you. Even the seeds, Lots of flavor. Probably too much flavor. I mean, kind of bitter, but oftentimes those bitters are pretty good for you.
It actually tastes pretty damn
Pretty
good.
medicinal. A lot of flavor. I mean,
You
you could grind that up and season a steak or
fish.
whatever. Fish.
And then this right here, these are wild onions, right?
Yep, those are allium. That looks like it's just the standard wild onion. There's quite a few different onions around here and around the country.
And then there's one that's endangered or something, right?
Yeah, Tolme's onion. There's probably more than one, but around here we have a Tolme's onion that is endangered.
But look at all that. I mean, if you were, fixing them with something there, you got your seasoning with the seeds, but then you've got all these little wild. It's
every one of those purple flowers has an onion associated with it.
Right.
Every one of these little clumps of tufts of parsley, you got the leaves, you got the root. I mean, there's even some buckwheat up there, that more lime green flower. I've never harvested buckwheat, but I'm sure everybody's heard of buckwheat flour and pancakes. It comes from somewhere.
Buckwheat from Little Rascals.
Yeah. But I've never done the buckwheat. I don't know if there's other kinds that are better or any of that. But so I just kind of go around with my container before I even start putting a shovel in the ground or a digging stick. And I just go, and I'm not really, the goal isn't to take every seed. The goal is to, take some seed home, and this one fell, that's great, You're trying to help the plants, you're not trying to exploit them. And they need some sunlight, but it's also best to help the seed get out of the sun. If you get it into that little microclimate, a little cooler with the shade, and maybe there's a little moisture under the rock, or maybe in the hole that you've dug for getting the root, you can put seed in there. And it's just like planting a seed in your garden. A lot of people actually refer to these sites like this as gardens. When you're at some of them, they might feel like that there may have been somebody that cultivated it at one time, and that's a grand possibility. A site like this, I don't see a lot of signs of that particularly, but who's to say somebody else hadn't been here digging or moving seed around?
That one area that you go to in McCall, man, it definitely had been a place to go.
So yeah, this is the onion that I just pulled. These seeds I'd say are not quite ripe, but that doesn't mean they're not viable. I mean, they're black, they're approaching it, they're probably a week or two away from being to the point where I'd come out specifically for those. But if you're here and you see one that looks like it's got good seed in it, it might be worthwhile.